Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unadilla and the Unadilla GNCC, the second annual here at the world-famous Unadilla Valley Sports Center. It's round number 11 of America's premier off-road racing series, the 2006 Suzuki Grand National Cross Country Championship. We can see another huge turnout of riders here in this morning class race. And no rain showers, at least on this Sunday. We've seen plenty of those yesterday on Saturday for the ATV races. And look there, the ghost of Unadilla returns. He looks like he's got some life in him, believe it or not. Right into sportsman's class here this year, but good to see him still wearing the same stuff he had on last year. There's Brock Kepler. He's Motocross Lights superstar, and he's going to be racing in the afternoon race coming up in just a little bit here on this GNCC DVD. You got to make sure you check that out. But look there in the middle, aboard the number 5, that's Scott Plessinger, the 94-95 GNCC Pro Bike Champion. He's been retired and has decided to come out for the first time in many, many years to try his hand at it. But it looks like Tyler McDonald's going to grab the early lead off that sportsman's class. Other riders out there include Brian Crispano, Stephen Flack, Steve McCackey, also Robert Springer, Donald Curran, Tyler McDonald, as we said, Charlie Hugel, Garrett Welburn, Joe Longwell, Kenneth Long, David Hall, Ryan Kuna, Doug Fox, also Robert Beebe, Jimmy Lewis. He's your Dirt Rider Magazine editor. He's out from Costa Mesa, California. We welcome him and several other folks to that sportsman's class. As you can see, it may not be raining, but it's definitely muddy out there as the rain showers over the course of the nighttime hours took their toll, even with yesterday's race raining as well during the racing. Row number 2, Super Senior A. Also, we got our BC, and we got our Masters 55-plus class and the 60-plus class, all on row number 2 as they continue to jockey for position. Jeff Fortner out there, Frank Sutton out of Canada on a gas with us. Masters 55-plus class riders like Gregory Davis, James Beebe, Edward Barnes, John Soule, and even our 60-plus class riders, guys like Jack Mitchell, as well as Ted Grabowski and Raymond Goulet, all from the New York area, and we welcome them out to GNCC racing here at the Unadilla Valley Sports Center and our 11th round here in the Suzuki Grand National Cross Country Championships. We get ready to head up to row number 3 coming up next, and on row number 3 is going to house our women, but first we see these guys make their way through these first few turns here and slip sliding away as they will, but the important thing is they're making it A-OK, and we're going to get to see some great racing out of these guys as well as everybody out here on the starting line. We have several hundred riders, 462, just under 500 riders in reality is what we have on the starting line, because the 462 number is an early number. The late number never did really get that one. Women's class off and running now. Ashley Richards in this one, Gemma Hall, Amanda Maston. She's going for the championship. She's tied right now with the 938 of Heather Wilson, the Suzuki pilot. Angie Wright's also out there, Casey Campbell, Victoria Rochelle, Claudia Daniel Wicks, Kelly Hall, Sarah Reed, Sarah Canny, Tanya Arrington, Alexis Austin, Jesse Fox, Ashley Grenier, Heather Crowley, Lisa Furman, and Chris Bryneal, all in that women's class. 18 riders in all jockeying for these top positions and honors in that women's class. Got coming up next is going to be row number 4 as these lady riders get things sorted out here. And as we head down to row number 4 here at the Unadilla Valley Sports Center, we got a couple more lady riders to make their way around, and actually it looks like some industry class riders mixed in with those. Row number 4 is our 200C 18-plus class. Mitch Allard, Corey Sims, Ryan Purvis, Adam Collins, Brian Sanford. Also, we got riders like Brett Merritt, Andrew Cushing, Dylan Colosino, Colin Dearman. We also got Corey Collins, Jason Wygant. Yeah, that's right, Jason Wygant, our own here at GNCC and Racer TV out on the race course. David Reese is out there, Kevin Fontanazza, Jacob Eufrizo, Bob Regay, Douglas Sherman, John Pileski, also Marty Delvin. We've got Sam White, Mark O'Bunchen, Craig Kuntz, Yus LaRose, and also Robert Spees. So we got several riders from Canada, New York, and other points in between. 250C class coming up on row number 5 next. It's Nicholas Compton, Zachary McCutcheon, as well as Matthew Whitaker, Steve Crispell, Chris Reiser, Nick Reiser, Jay Skaplin, Josh LaFrance, Justin Eaton, Stephen Gilbert, Brian Sokol, Nicholas Wakeman, Jeffrey Gunther, Derek Waters, Britt Mayer, Eric Normandy, Daniel Shea, Nicholas Keating, Robert Hagan, Lewis Powers, Josh Rockwell, Sean Bruley, and James Merritt. Got a total of 63 riders in this 250C class, believe it or not. Riders including Shane Mathiasen, Andrew Wright, Stephen Ryan, Steve Austin, Terry Coolbeth, Jake Mattioli, also Ryan Kusner, Dustin Benton, Robbie Ostel, Jack Keller, Zane Skinner, Robert O'Reilly, Mike Hadley, Ted Mullins, Justin Stanley, Adam Clark, Jade Jordan, also Kyle Gregro, Nick Wise aboard the number 409, Tyler Nash, Leon Buno, Alan Ulrich, Stephen Bollinger, Brent Marriott, David Sam, Samuel Van Horn, John Pullier, also Michael Bruce, Kyle Crispy, and Logan Lovelace, just to name a good number of those 63 riders. Yep, you heard me right, 63 off of that row, number 5, the 250C class. We head down 40-plus class up next, 40 riders in this one. Brock Alexander, Scott Raffo, Kyle Kolava, also Chris Collins, Randall Routon, Larry Arnold. We got Charles Uphold, James Dice, Neil Price, David Chambers, Randy Durovich, Charles Smith, Steve Bowman, Robert Shepard, William Baldwin, Glenn Hargrave, Tim McGurk, Bill Boyd, Kevin Irwin, Seth Bueller, Daniel Braniff, David DeClaro, Albert Deloisio, also Tim Grove, Martin Swantz, Keith Mack, Roy Johnson, Alan Goodall, Barry Corbett, also Stephen Evans, Dan Kellman, Richard Decatur, Mike Latchett, Stephen Snavely, Timothy Tearaway, Andrew Fiore, Charles Reed, Christopher Drake, John Stiles, Larry Martin, and that's a total of 40 riders in your Senior C 40-plus classes. They all jockey for position through those first 4 to 5 turns before they hit the really rough section of the race course. Looks a little soggy right here. Wait till we get out to the 1.5 mile markers. We head down to row number 7, 12 to 17, 200C schoolboys. Michael Bourdreau, Chase Simone, also Jacob Church, Kevin Nadler, James Cohn, Norm Harris, Ryan West, Jacob Brenham, Al Rosenberger, Stephen Check McElroy, also Bobby Kershaw, Jared Fortner, Kerry Ecker Erickson. We got Jesse Furry, Dennis Saker, Ryan Cada, Matthew Volker, Kyle Henneke, Hayden O'Kelly, Jeremy Yields, Kyle Yields, Jeremy Neese. Other riders including Dylan Leonard, Greg McDonald, Anthony Thomas, Stray Todozik, Steve Darsargalis, Andrew Kinsley, Brian Devlin, James Wright, Cassidy Kowalski, Jared Wakeman, Wesley Hyder, also Brian Walters, Michael Bauer, Richard Hines, James Silva, Martin Miles, Sean Guy, Andrew Boggs, Joshua Munsrud, Sean Thomas, and David Kingsland, as well as Kevin Panabaker. 47 riders in all in our 200C schoolboy. That's 12 to 17 years of age as they tackle the hills of Unadilla now, the very muddy hills of Unadilla. Some of these guys just barely big enough to ride a 125 or 250cc machine, and they're out there tackling these hills. Row number 8, our Open C, off and rolling next. And we got guys like Fisher Wells, Terry Neese, Stephen Wilkinson, Jaron Fisher, Kevin Curtis, Teddy Bird, Thor Church, John Mann, Kyle Pond, Eric Plant, Regis Plant, Louis Fugate, Joseph Cochran, Dana Crosby, Jonathan Choquet, John Worley, Marty Jackson, Michael Macbeth, Jeff Stanfest, Harvey Anderson, Pat Flaherty, Sean Wade, Colin Clear, Eric Albrecht, Mark Smith, Brett Lehman, David Bolden, also Brian Holton, Lance Pukowski, James Marquez, Ken DeJordy, and Peter Squires. 32 riders rounding out your field of Open C riders. Row number 9, 4-stroke C0 to 300, 301cc plus. Guys like Marcy Christopher, also Sean Covert, Derek Alden, David Fitch, Ryan Marinelli, Colin Santoro, Sean Kelly, Tyler Bagley, Zach Jones, David Rosenberg, Chris Cottle, Matthew Deo, Eli Suter, Stanley Poposky, Michael Vandervliet, also John Snyder, Tim Law, Matthew Eaton, Sean Ryan, Kevin Worth, Charles Gross, Jacob Stewart, Miles Miller, and in the 301cc plus class, Mark Quinto, Justin Wolf, Sammy Tam, Thomas Padero, Charlie Schischler, Bruce Mastine, Merrill Harlan, David Hall, Clint Masters, Shane Whitcomb, also Caleb Cross, David Boggs, Dominic Portelli, and James Manny, all on the 4-stroke C, 0 to 300cc and 301cc plus class line. So we head down to our next row. It's going to be our Senior C, the 45-plus class riders. This will be row number 10. We got a total of 34 riders in this one. James Sparrow, Thomas Shaver, James Schaefer, also Ron Miller, Skip Stoner, Neil Eisert, Terry Long, Chris Doran, Ken Santoro, Daniel Nawraki, also Robert Edmondson, Timothy Pangburn, Timothy Anderson, Richard Bristol, Peter Pileski, John Houston, Robert Birch, Kevin Outland, Tom Kneebone, Norman Foley, Terry Fox, Leo Bolboni, Marco Katrina, Herbert Chamberlain, Billy Childers, Randy Crane, Ryan Smith, Martin Miles, Andrew Kuntz, Cody Jenkins, James Bruce, Rob Martin, and Leo Winooski. 34 riders in our Senior C 45-plus class, and it looks like somewhat of a struggle for these riders through that third and fourth turn down there. That's the fourth turn we're taking a look at right there, so it's getting kind of sloppy and greasy and actually rather deep through this section of the race course. As we said, we had rain showers on Saturday during the ATV racing, and then to add insult to injury, plenty of heavy showers through the overnight hours as we headed into the daylight times. It was just beginning to clear up as our youth riders made their way onto the race course. Row number 11 coming up next. It's our Vet C plus 30, 29 riders in this one. James Cohn, Michael Eichelberger, Flavo Barrows, also Tim Elderman, Brent Byrne, Joshua Simmers, Kevin Rexroad, Donald Morton, Jason Hemming, Steve Bryce, Stephen Grassi, Thomas Parks, Jarrett Sully, Mark Bonecke, John Colling, Edward O'Keefe, Jason Patty, Charles Sayer, Timothy Sims, John Armour, Brian Green, Michael Lucas, Brian Wilkins, Robert Knopf, Roland Siegel, Christopher Thomas, Brian Siegel, and Christopher Ingracia. And that's your 29 riders in the Vet C 30-plus class. And again, slip sliding, just trying to get traction out there, trying to make it to the wood sections and hope for a little bit better conditions out there. Row number 12, our Vet C 35-plus class. 40 riders in this class. Tim Koger, Robert Descroll, Chris Martin, Larson Smith, Michael Strauss, Gordon Malavy, Billy Evans, Nicholas Torino, Jeffrey Schickley, also Richard Schaefer, Rip Arrington, Daniel Nudie, Charles Crespo, Carl Bruno, Jason Fernaro, Robert Bovey, Eric Davis, Kurt Lantz, John Bruderman, Carl Hyder, Darren Molnar, David Green, Joel Herbert, Tom Finnery, Rich Farr, William Wright, James Noose, Michael Barrett, Greg Harvey, Jeffrey Miller, James Foster, Gary Melvin, Byron Wright, Evan Dennis, Douglas Domeglia, Darwin Snow, Richard Butler, John Lennox, and Everett Sneed, rounding out your field of 40 riders set to tackle these rolling hills of the Unadilla Valley Sports Center. And, out in the valley here, you don't expect to see a lot of hills, but there are quite a few in the river valley here. The Unadilla River runs right along the property there, and it's a very beautiful and picturesque area once you get out into the wood sections. But, you kind of expect a valley sometimes to be flat. This particular valley has got a lot going on in it, and it makes for some great GNCC racing there as we see a lot of terrain change, rolling hills. And, hey, you got to say, got to love that Unadilla motocross track, which we're going to get a chance to look at here in just a few moments as our last class finally making their way into the woods here at the Unadilla Valley Sports Center. And the Unadilla GNCC, just under 500 riders now tackling it as we head out near the 1.5-mile marker. There's your early leader, Tyler McDonald, aboard the number 42. See if he can hold steady with the pace up front there as try to get things sorted out a little bit further back behind them. But see how tough this section looks right now. Wait just a little bit. When we get these 500 riders going through on a couple of different laps, it's going to get even worse. We'll check back in with lap 1 results on a class-by-class breakdown coming up here in just a few minutes on our Unadilla GNCC. Heading toward the conclusion of lap number 1, and look, the rain showers are beginning to fall again, and this could spell disaster quite possibly for this race, and some riders really struggling out there as we take a look at our class leader report after one lap of racing. Tyler McDonald leading the sportsman's class and the overall. Heather Wilson running in the lead of the women's class. She and Amanda Maston deadlock tie in the point standings for that championship. Frank Sutton leading the Super Senior 50 Plus A. Robbie Ostel leading the 250C class. 200C schoolboy class being led by Hayden O'Kelly. Open C class being led by Regis Plant. 4-stroke C 0 to 300cc class leader Jacob Stewart. 4-stroke C 301cc plus class leader David Boggs. Vet C 35 plus class leader Michael Strauss. Senior C 40 plus class leader Roy Johnson. Senior 50 plus BC, that's super senior, David Canny leading there. That's the father of Nathan Canny. 200C 18 plus class Matt O'Bunchen. Also, Senior C 45 plus class leader Kevin Outland. Vet C 30 plus class Brian Wilkins. And Masters 55 plus class leader Thomas Ebersol. As we said, rain showers started falling about 3/4 of the way through lap number 1. Could change the face of what the Unadilla Valley GNCC morning race is going to be like out there, as we're beginning to see more and more riders strewn out along the race course with broken down bikes stuck in different mud holes and things like that. So, and even on these uphills, I mean, you know, on dry, what looks like not necessarily dry ground, but what looks like flat ground or good traction ground, these guys can't even get up. That ground is so soft underneath that topsoil and underneath those leaves, it makes it really, really rough. Out near the 6-mile marker now, and we're heading toward the conclusion of another lap of racing. Looked like it's only going to be a 3-lap race. We were on target for a 4-lap race until the rain showers started falling. Now it's been knocked down to a 3-lap race to just under what should be under a 2-hour race at that particular point. Just under 2 hours, and 2 hours is what we like to shoot for. About an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours and 15 minutes, whichever is closest to the 2-hour mark. So looks like in accordance to our time schedule, it should be a 3-lap race unless something changes. And we'll check in at the end of 2 coming up here in just a few moments at the Unadilla Valley GNCC round 11 of the Suzuki Grand National Cross Country Championships. Working on the completion of lap number 2 here at the Unadilla GNCC, and the rain shower starting to slow down a little bit, but it's done its damage out on the race course itself. As we take a look at the class leader report, Tyler McDonald leading the overall and the sportsman's class. Heather Wilson continues to lead the women's class, Super Senior A 50-plus class. Frank Sutton continues to lead there. Basically, we've got almost the same exact leaderboard that we had last time. Only a couple of different classes have changed. 250C class leader still Robbie Ostel. 200C schoolboy Hayden O'Kelly. Open C Regis Plant. 4-stroke C 0 to 300 Jacob Stewart. 4-stroke C 301cc plus David Boggs. Vet C 35 plus class Michael Strauss. Senior C 40 plus class leader Roy Johnson. And now's when we start to see a couple of changes there. Super Senior 50 plus BC class leader David Lloyd, new leader at the end of 2. Brian Sherbino, new leader in the 200C 18 plus class. And then Kevin Outland holds on to it in the Senior C 45 plus class after 2. Brian Wilkins, the Vet C 30 plus class. And Larry Barnes in the Masters 55 plus class after 2 laps of racing complete. And again, back out on the race course, the track continues to deteriorate. How many of these nearly 500 riders are actually going to be able to finish the race? Find out. We'll keep an eye on these riders as the race wears on here at the Unadilla GNCC. Well, as we near the completion of this final lap of racing, several changes, including our overall lead. Scott Plessinger, who was running back in third place overall and third place in the sportsman's class for the biggest part of the day, actually riding very smart to come away with the sportsman's class win and the overall win on the day. Heather Wilson taking the women's class win, Frank Sutton taking the Super Senior A class, Robbie Ostel 250C, Andrew Boggs 200C Schoolboy, Regis Plant the Open C class, 4-stroke C0 300cc Jake Stewart, Vet C 35 plus class Michael Strauss, Senior C 40 plus Roy Johnson, Brian Sherbino holds on to the 200C 18 plus class, Brian Wilkins Vet C 30 plus, and Larry Barnes your Masters 55 plus class. Overall top 10, it's Plessinger, Jimmy Lewis from Dirt Rider Magazine, Robbie Ostel in third place overall from the 250C class, Richard DeRochers in fourth, and Keith Jozorski in fifth.
I just love coming and riding the GNCCs. It's totally different than what we do out in California, and it gives us a really good perspective on, you know, the whole scene of off-road. I don't get a chance to ride mud that much, so I look at it like a treat.
How about it for this guy right here, former GNCC champion Scott Plessinger, ladies and gentlemen.
I felt pretty good after, I don't know, on the first lap. I was ready to pull off. I had a miserable first lap. I think I was trying to learn how to ride again.
GNCC on DVD is produced by Gear Media and Marketing for Racer Productions. The Grand National Cross Country Championship is sanctioned by the American Motorcyclist Association. Rights, Riding, Racing. AMA. Join now. Call 1-800-AMA-JOIN.